We want to give you a few statements here to just keep rolling over in your mind that are general in nature, but they are so powerfully true that as you ponder them and remember them, they will hold you in a place of allowing more things to come to you. Life is supposed to be good for you. And you have done a wonderful job of lining things up. And all that is aware of you and focused upon your vibrational escrow and holding the tone for that. And the larger part of you is right there holding that tone too, so that when you get in the vicinity of it, you feel better. And when you stray from it, you feel worse. And when you focus deliberately toward it, you feel really good. When you give it your undivided attention, you soar with eagerness and enthusiasm. When you think thoughts of opposition, you crash and burn. When you think thoughts that are in alignment with it, you feel fabulous. The emotions within you are your very best friend. Whether they are negative emotions or positive emotions, they are your very best friend, because they are your indicator of whether you are turning into or away from who you really are and what you've really become. You see, even a sickness that you have is a wonderful, friendly indicator that lets you know the vibrational content and gives you opportunity to do something about it. It's not a hard thing to shift thoughts. It's an easy thing to shift thoughts. You don't have to shift them all at once. You don't need to, and you couldn't even if you wanted to. So just shift your thoughts one at a time. Be very easy about it. Make lists of the things that are easy to feel good about and focus upon them often. And when something comes up that you don't feel good about, don't shy away from it in an attitude of, I've got to get away from that. Instead, take note that there's something that you want to tend to, but don't necessarily tend to it right then. In other words, reach for your positive alignment, and then from your positive alignment, go back and readdress that. Sometimes it seems that you get the old 1, 2, 3 punch, where something doesn't go right, and then something else doesn't go right, and then something really goes wrong, and it feels hard for you to get hold of something that will really work for you. But it is not a difficult thing, because the entire universe is on your side and rooting for you to get what you want. You just have to relax and stop throwing the hissy fit that you're not getting what you want right this minute. In other words, that's the thing that's going wrong with so many of you. You so want what you want, and you innately know that you should get it, and when you're not getting it, there's this feeling of injustice that is so pervasive that it makes you just sort of freak out. And you just gotta freak out less frequently, and not be so hard on yourself when you do it, and then remind yourself, everyone is on my side. In other words, the source, the resources, it's all coming together for me, because my life is supposed to go well, and things are supposed to be good for me, and life is supposed to be fun, and I am supposed to feel ease, and things are supposed to work out for me, and things are working out for me. And when I look at it, more is working out than isn't, and there is much more of a balance of evidence of things going well for me than not. And I like being a nitpicker. I like being spoiled so rotten that I sort of have a meltdown when every little thing isn't going right, because that means that the larger part of me does acknowledge that things are supposed to go very well. But I'm resilient. I can deal with this. I can line up with this. I can find my way. I can tune into who I am. I can find it. I do it often. I do it all the time. Not every time. Don't need to do it every time. I do it often. I'm doing it most of the time. I'm doing it frequently. I'm doing it chronically. I'm feeling good much of the time. Things are going my way. Everything's working out all right for me. The universe is on my side. My vibrational escrow is alive and well. Source is focused upon it. My inner being within me is there. When I feel negative emotion, it just means I'm turned the other way. I can turn back that way. And if I don't, no big deal. I can hold myself apart. I can be as miserable as I decide to be. I can be as sick as I decide to be. But at any point I decide I can turn around. I'm in charge of this. Everything's all right. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's working all right. The universe is on my side. My inner being's on my side. My vibrational escrow is alive and well. I just need to turn in the direction of it. It's fun in moving toward things. It doesn't have to all manifest right now. I wouldn't want it to all manifest right now. I like it to manifest in bits and pieces. I like knowing that I'm on the flow of it. I like coming up with new ideas. I like turning and going in the direction of it. I like feeling tuned in, tapped in, turned on with Source. I like feeling the joy of Source flowing through me. I like knowing that all is well. I like this contrasting life in which I live. I like living this life. I like all of it. I like who I am. I like what I'm doing. I like where I am. I like where I'm going. You've got to see abundance and money and financial well-being as it really is. You've got to see it. You've got to see it like the air you breathe. It's there for you. How can I be a vibrational match to what's in my vibrational escrow? And the short version is, you have to feel good when you think the thought you're thinking. That's how you be a vibrational match. So any thought of shortage wouldn't be, or any thought of doing something I don't want to do in order to get something I do want wouldn't be.
Right.
So if we could convince you that all of the effort that we're trying to inspire from you is just about telling a story that feels good while you tell it. We're just trying to guide you to the pleasant thoughts. So every time you flash back on a conversation you were having with someone you loved, where you loved more and they loved more because of the moment in time that you were sharing, you're using that as your excuse to line up. What you're really looking for is more excuses to tune your receiver to this frequency of your vibrational escrow. It has nothing to do with what you do. It has everything to do with how you feel. Everything to do with how you feel. You look through a photo album and you see pleasant memories. Does that help you? Yes, it does. You hear from someone that this was an uplifting movie and you go and your heart soars. Was that beneficial? Yes, indeed it was. We just want you to find thoughts that feel like the better that you know it should be. That's all. Just find thoughts that feel like the better that it should be. Just find thoughts that feel like the better it should be. Nothing to do, only things to think. Nothing to do, only things to say. Nothing. And why do you do it and say it and think it? Because it feels better in the doing it and thinking it and saying it. That's all. Really? I just have to feel better. That's it. Feeling better matches you up with this. Do you believe in this?
Yes.
Do you believe the vibrational escrow is there? You got it. You got to look around. Look around at this planet. Do you have... In other words, you gotta know there's something bigger going on. You gotta know that there are universal forces happen. You gotta know the power of thought. You've got to know that that broader perspective exists. You've gotta know that. You do know that. And when you separate from it, you don't feel so good. So we're just saying, you can line up with good feeling thoughts much more easily than you think. And when you do, things shift. Think a different thought just because you want to feel good. Find a different emotion, which means you've shifted your vibration. And your relationship with your vibrational escrow will shift enough that different people will walk into your experience. Different experiences, different amounts of money, different experiences, different everything. Shift your vibration the slightest little bit, and everything in your experience shifts to match the difference. Because the indicator always shifts when the vibration shifts. So, do you need validation to shift it? What more excuse do you need? This is the thing that the source within you is saying. You don't have to justify your good thought. Just find a good thought. You got to get inside your vibrational escrow. It's a vibrational escrow. Get in there and feel what's in there. And when you get in there, once you get in there, it will all start dawning on you. And you will begin to remember who you are. Not who you were before you were born, who you have become since you've been here. Do you believe that there is, in fact, a vibrational, pre-paving version of you? What do you think deja vu is? Deja vu is the feeling that you're now living something that you knew was coming. In other words, there is a version of you that is already fully blown, ready to manifest, that is realer than the real that you know is real. All you got to do is find some thoughts that feel good and let the universe show you the details of it. Don't you really want to see the vibrational indicator of your vibrational escrow appearing in your life experience? Just got to train yourself into alignment with who you are. Little by little by little by little by little. Is it easy to think? Is it easy to feel? Is it easy to tell how the thought you think feels? Is there any more to it than that? Have we sort of ground this into the ground today? In other words, we're making far too much of all of this, aren't we? Find something to be happy about and focus on it and be happy. Then find something else to be happy about and focus on it and be happy. Then find something else to be happy about and focus on it and be happy. If you find yourself, by default, not watching what you're doing, stumbling onto something that doesn't feel happy when you focus upon it and don't feel happy until you can't stand not being happy, and then make a decision to focus upon something that feels happy, and then focus upon it and be happy. That's pretty much it.
You have about 30 seconds.
Well, there is nothing more that we would give you, any of you, that will take you into greater clarity than what we have already achieved. We want to say to you that we found this particular gathering not only interesting but highly productive in that we moved into places that we have not been before. This was a really powerful seminar where the nitty-gritty of your questions took us into places that we have not been before. Having said that, we want to leave you with something that we can feel has arisen as a result of the time that we've spent together today, and that is we are all making too much of all of this. In other words, thoughts create, and you have the ability to direct your thoughts. And as you direct your thoughts, your feeling about the thoughts that you are directing will improve. And if you will let your life be about reaching for the best feeling thought that you can find from wherever you are, the universe will continue to deliver to you more opportunities not only to expand, but more opportunities to revel in the deliciousness of what you have lined up. If we were standing in your physical shoes, we would vacillate between two intentions, and they are very simple intentions. The first one would be, I want to feel good as much as I can feel good, which means I'm going to pay more attention to how I feel, and I'm going to more deliberately guide my thought. And the second intention that we would leave this gathering with, which really falls on the basis of what we've just said, is I am determined. And think of the power of the word determined. I am determined to tell the story, all stories, the story of my life, the story of my wishes, the story of my past, the story of my present. I am determined to tell my story of how I want it to be. So if people say, how have you been? Your answer is irrelevant. As people say, hi, how are you? The answer is irrelevant. Not that you're irrelevant. My story about how I am is irrelevant. My story about how I have